Hello and welcome back to another stream of Factorio today. But I was almost late today. I was almost late because I was in the middle of an argument about comics. You have no idea how intense I am with my comics argument, or maybe you do actually if you do know me. But what was I arguing about? So someone was making this argument, and there's someone who I guess they didn't like manga or something. They were kind of a bit of a manga hater, and they were making this argument. And so the argument I was making that I have to make about Western comics is a problem with it is that there's too many cooks in the kitchen. You've got the pencilist, the inker, the colorist, the guy who does the speech bubbles, and you've got all these different roles, and the writer's also a different person. It's not always a different person. Sometimes it's like only like two or three people, but there's a big problem they often have is that there's like too many people. There's like too many people, and they're not working together as much as they should. They're often like the pencilist, the guy doing the pencils. What he's supposed to do, he's supposed to make pencils that are like blueprints for the inker, and the inker can only do black and white. He can do a bit of cross hatching. Generally, it's only black and white. It's binary. So the pencilist, if he's doing his job properly, he should do the pencils with just those two values, but often they don't. They make the pencils, and they're like these really artistic looking things of all gradients and all these half tones and stuff. It looks really great, but it's useless to the inker. And the reason they do this is because you can sell the pencils on their own at auctions. Or, and a lot of pencilists, a lot of the artists in the comic industry, they make a lot of money doing that. So it's kind of in their interest to make their pencils look really good to sell at auction. If they made them just blueprints, they might look a bit weird. And but even then, the inker is like he's also in the same boat. He'll make these inks, and he'll make the inks look really good just as inks. What he should be doing is he should be making the inks in expectation that there's going to be color on top of these. So certain things he shouldn't really color in. Like if you have a character that's like got red hair or something, like Mary Jane. You probably should leave that alone because it's very difficult to mix red and black in that sort of way. It doesn't look very good. But they don't care about that. They want to sell the inks at auction. And so they make their inks look really good, and that entails it not looking like a blueprint. And then by the time he gets to the colorist, what the hell is he going to do? He's got these terrible inks. He's got these, it's a big mess, and he just slaps color on it. Whatever. Half the time they're not even really properly credited anyway, because traditionally it wasn't like an artistic job. It was just sort of fill in the colors. But today it is an artistic job, and so that's like a big problem I think with Western comics. It's not necessarily that there's too many cooks in the kitchen, but that they're not working together. There's no clear single art direction. When someone needs to sit the pencilist and the inker and the colorist all down together and say, okay, here's what we want this to look like. Okay, pencilist, you draw it like this. Inker, don't draw the blacks in here because that's where the colors are going to go. And this and you make a creature, but they don't do that. They don't do that. Everyone's like doing their own thing. And so I make this argument a lot. That they need to get a grip, and the big problem is they've got so many people. And as a contrast to this. As a contrast to this, that's not how manga works at all. Manga, by contrast, is basically a one-man band. Now, here's where there's a room for attack here. If you want to attack my argument, you say, they've got loads of assistants. They have the assistant. They're drawing the whole background. They're drawing the background characters. So sometimes they'll even they'll even do details on the main character. Sometimes there's a few examples where some manga artists will only draw the faces of the main characters. They won't even draw they won't even draw the hair. They'll just draw the faces, and then the assistants will do everything else. Now, first of all, I think Golgo 13, the artist who does that, he's like that. He's like some 70-year-old man. He might even be dead by now. I don't even know. But that's a rare example. Okay, the way it works for most manga artists is the main manga author. And also, this is predominantly for like really quite intense schedules. People they're really busy. A lot of manga artists, even quite famous ones, they don't have any assistants, so they do it all themselves. It probably depends on what you're making, what your release schedule is, how hard you can work. If your backgrounds are something really crazy and fantastical, like for example, Akira Toriyama, the sort of Dragon Ball style backgrounds, they're really quite weird. It's difficult to get an assistant to do that. If you have just sort of generic Japanese high school, an assistant can do that really easily. But once you get weird stuff, it sort of becomes easier just to draw it yourself rather than try to direct someone else to draw it. But anyway, I'm digressing. The way it typically works is the sort of standard model, which you have the main manga author, who's generally one or two persons, either the artist and the writer, and one main manga artist. He's the main guy, and he will draw the main characters. And the assistants will draw backgrounds, and if there's like a crowd in the background, they'll draw that as well. And sometimes they'll draw like, side characters, but often the main manga artist does this as well. These artists, they work like over 10 hours a day. They really work hard, and so if they're putting out 20 pages a week or so, they're working 10 hours a day, and they do draw quite fast as well. They can do a lot. And again, some manga artists, they do just do it all themselves. They don't have assistants. But the line of attack here is that so I'm saying that the problem with Western comics is that there is too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's a disconnected mess. It doesn't look like it's one cohesive product. So they say, manga is also like that. Manga also looks like a mess because they've also got too many cooks in the kitchen, because they have their assistants drawing the backgrounds, and the backgrounds don't match the figures. In the defense, Chainsaw Man, the backgrounds don't match the figures. However, I can't remember where I heard this from, but I heard it was in some interview, or they were talking to some other artists, and they were talking about Fujimoto, I think it is. They were talking about Fujimoto, and how he's actually got a problem with, he's amateurish, he's not used to working with assistants, and apparently he hasn't been given very good guidance, and so he hasn't properly trained his assistants to draw in a cohesive style. They're kind of drawing in the default manga background style. That's a management problem. And I argue I'd say it's an editor's problem. The editor should have realised that Fujimoto isn't quite as experienced in this industry, and he should have picked some kind of lead assistant or something to go help him, because he's a very famous artist. He's got a lot of money. That's a problem. For example, the way Fujimoto draws is he draws with quite thick lines, and they don't have too much pen pressure. But the backgrounds have very thin lines, and they're very fine, and they shouldn't have done that. What he should have done is he should have told the assistants that you need to draw the backgrounds like the characters. They've got to have these kind of messy lines, and there's a few cases where Fujimoto has drawn his own backgrounds. I think he draws his own backgrounds in the first chapter, where it's, you don't have assistants in the first chapter. Yeah, that's your pitch, that's your pilot. And they match. But my real counter-argument to that is that's one example, okay? That's one example. And this guy had been making this example for a while. He'd been making this example for a while, this argument, and it was frustrating, because it's he would assert, he or she, I don't know, they would assert that oh no, that the assistants in manga are useless. They don't listen to the main author, and they draw in completely incongruous ways, and it looks totally disastrous. What manga is terrible. And I was so fed up with this argument that I decided, and I made a big collage of like 20 or more than 20 different manga, where I had picked out panels that showed the, sort of a main character in quite good detail, quite zoomed in, and a detailed background in the background that was in focus. Because such a panel, almost certainly, the main figure in it would be drawn by the main author, almost certainly, but the background being quite detailed, probably drawn by an assistant. And so I got loads of these examples from really famous manga like Dragon Ball and Naruto and all kinds of stuff, varying decades and art styles, levels of experience, and in pretty much all of them, it looks totally fine. There's no problems with them at all. The backgrounds they're adequately harmonious. I being an artist myself, I've drawn for over 10 years. And I've spent a lot of time looking at manga, so I can look at them and I can see that okay, that's definitely I can see they've used a different pen to draw the background lines, and there's sort of things that are done in the background that the main artist doesn't do. Like what often happens is assistants who are really quite experienced assistants, they're really good at drawing straight lines and sort of manual like cross hatching and stuff like that, or even using half tones and cutting and pasting them. They're really good at that. Whereas main authors who just draw characters, they can be a bit either rusty, or they were never very good at that at all. And so you can often see sort of a difference there. You see, like maybe the main character, he'll draw him and he's wearing like some outfit or something, and he's not really very good at drawing all the textures and stuff like that. He's still like a famous manga artist. He's still good in that sense. But the assistant artists, they're like they've been doing this like for years and only that, so they're really dialed in on it. And so you can see a little bit of a difference there. But more importantly, what you can also see is that, and this is, what an assistant should do, is they draw in the style of the artist. So if the artist uses thick lines and really high contrast, the background has thick lines and really high contrast. If the artist draws in a really realistic style, the background's in a really realistic style. If the artist draws in a really cartoony style, the background's in a very cartoony style. You see what I mean? And often, well, actually, I don't know if it's often. I don't know how often this is done. But a good practice for the main manga author is to have a design, a style guide, that for how to draw things. So you say, okay, if there are trees in the background, they have to be drawn in this sort of way because this looks good next to the characters. And if we're drawing background characters, these are the kind of outfits they wear, and this is sort of the kind of shape for the head. If they're far away zoomed in the background, you have to make them like chibi style, or don't make them chibi style. It depends. The style guide will tell you these things, and these are very useful for the assistants so that they make the backgrounds blend in, and you don't even know it was done by a different artist at all. And the key point of this whole story here is, I have gotten so aggressive, so intense with my arguments about comics and manga and stuff that I'm not pulling any punches. I'm not pulling any punches. I will go and I will spend like an hour making some kind of image that argues my case so aggressively that the other person just gives up. In fact, I had an argument a while ago, I can't remember what it was about, but it involved me making a collage of manga noses, like noses, the things you sniff with, and I had like 100 manga noses all cropped and put on a board, this big collage of manga noses, to argue something about manga noses. I think I was arguing about the sort of shapes they make and how they're not really styles, they're the shadows of the real nose and that sort of thing. And then someone responds who wasn't the guy I was talking to, but someone responds who responds, oh my god, if you made a collage of noses, if I was arguing, I would just concede just there and there. I have no hope. But I think and I was almost late for the stream. I was saying that I was almost late for the stream because I was in the middle of an argument. It was just sort of going, the arguments tangenting and going in different directions, and someone was just arguing. So we'd concluded that Western comics, but speaking specifically of Marvel and DC and other sort of Image and Dark Horse and that, they're really bad. Okay, they're making garbage. But what about European comics? You didn't think of that. You didn't think of the European comics, and this is a tricky argument. Because no one's ever heard of European comics. Can you name a European comic? Name a Japanese comic. Name a manga. You'll be here all day. Everyone can list hundreds of Japanese manga. Name an American comic. Oh, you can list loads of American comics. You can list Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America. You can list all these. Name a European comic, huh? Haha, got you there. And because you can't name any, you can't argue against any. And so I've also got a collage that I made of European comics. And now here's where you've got to be very particular, you have to be very precise in your attack here. Covers in Western comics, the covers have nothing to do with the comic at all. The covers are often drawn by a different artist. They're drawn in a much more elaborate style. They look really good. That's what I'm saying. The covers look great. But what does the comic actually look like? What do the inside pages look like? And so in this collage I made of European comics, and I made this one a while ago from a previous argument. There was this exact same argument where I said, well, go on then. List these European comics. List these Euro comics that are so great. And I got him, and he listed like 20 or so European comics. I was like, all right, I got you. So I took every single one of those, and I found like a random page. I didn't cherry pick at all. I just found a random page out of every single one of these, put them in a big collage, and you know what? They look terrible. You know, or I'm sorry, I don't mean to bash them, but you know, in terms of the argument, you know, you're pitting them up against, you know, things like Dragon Ball and, you know, and Death Note and Berserk. You're pitting them against these juggernauts, and you're saying, oh, what about Popeye, huh? What about Tintin, huh? You didn't think of that, did you? It's like, yeah, okay, pal. Like the image itself argues the case. You know, and I think that's a really good point. I've got a bunch of collages that are basically just that, and whoever I'm arguing with, they never like it. You know, if you show them a collage of the covers of these comics, they really like that because the covers look great. But if you show them the actual comic, the inside, they really hate that because the actual pages should look rubbish. Oh, well, you know, sometimes they actually do look rubbish, but most of the time they're just not very interesting, you know, they're very, you know, they're either very antiquated or they're just kind of amateurish, and, you know, and then sometimes they'll say, oh, well, the story's really good, I remember a while ago someone was trying to get me to read Persepolis, or Persepolis, however it's supposed to be pronounced. It's some story about some nonsense in the Middle East, and the argument was that, oh, well, the story's really good, the characters are really good, it's really evocative and stuff. But the art is totally, it's primitive. It's very primitive art. It looks like a child's drawn it. And the artist is obviously not a child. It's obviously an adult drawing like this. And the art, it does nothing. It does nothing for the comic. It's just not there. You know, it's like, you know, it's like if you have you're doing some music, and you haven't got any instruments, but you're also not singing. You're just sort of speaking. So that's not music. What are you doing? You know, it doesn't add anything. You know, you're not utilizing the medium to its fullest potential. This medium of comics, you can have what's it called? You know, you have this story. You know. And when you imagine the story in your head, when you imagine like any kind of story in your head, maybe you had a dream or something, you imagine a story in your head, you kind of imagine it like a movie. You know, I'm not saying you have to have this like, super visual imagination, but that's generally how, you know, imagination goes. You imagine there's sound and there's smells and there's that, you know, your angles that you're looking at things from, and things have color, and there's all this visual, there's movement, there's sound, there's all these things that all comes together. So you imagine a lived experience. And what a comic can do, a comic can get closer to that, whereas, you know, if you have a book, you have to describe things, and that's how you communicate the visuals. But with a comic, you can just show the visuals, and you have to use technique. I've argued about this before. You have to, you know, techniques to sort of convey the illusion of movement and sounds and stuff like that. For example, let's say you have a character and he's got this like hammer. He's got like a big hammer, and he slams it down on someone's head. How do you convey that? Well, first of all, you draw a bunch of like lines coming out of the hammer, so like speed lines to make it clear. It's like this hammer's moved really fast. So that's how you convey the illusion of movement. But how do you convey the illusion of sound? Well, then you have the sound effects that are coming out of this, and you draw it doesn't actually matter what you write in the sound effects. Hence, you know, you read a lot of manga, and the sound effects are in Japanese, but it's not really a problem. You don't need to read the sound effects to know what they mean. You know, it's how you draw them, like the way you draw the letters and stuff. You know, you draw them really big and imposing, and that conveys a sort of like a boom sound. You know, and so you do that. You do this guy slamming his hammer down on this guy's head, and you've got the speed lines coming out, the big boom sound effects, and that's it. You've got the sound, you've got the movement, you know, the visuals. You've got a full cinematic experience there, and you can do this with every single panel and make a comic, and it's like a cinematic experience. You can make like a Hollywood movie, but just pen on paper. It's a really great medium, and that's what I like about it. But with this Persepolis and other sort of similar sort of like primitive style comics, they don't do any of this stuff. It's just they've just drawn like a picture book. You know, you're like, oh, and then we went to here, and the guards, they killed everyone, and you've got a drawing of guards killing everyone. It's like, I could have imagined that. You know, it's the experience is not really much different than a book. It's really not utilizing all the strengths of comics, and for that reason, it's mid. It's just mediocre. You know, so I don't really care how good the story is. If the art's mediocre, I'm here to read a comic here. You know, I want this cinematic experience. It's like if you had actors, you did a film, and the actors they they just sort of sat there and just read their lines with no acting. You know, it's like give me some. You know, mate, it's a film. You use the techniques of the film. But anyway, we've sat here for 20 minutes arguing about comic. Let's get into the game. There we go. It's been a while since I last played some Factorio, and I confess I've got a rough idea of where we are. I know that we had just got to we just unlocked green science. I don't know how much of it we researched. It looks like we have not yet researched chemical science, so I guess that's what we're going to do next. Let me just turn on my fan a little higher. It's a bit hot in here. Hopefully that won't ruin the sound. But it looks like we've still got a bunch more stuff to unlock before we can make green science. But I think we have unlocked oil processing. So I think we should have we made in our oh yes, I remember we was making us kind of tight spaghetti. So it's more interesting. We made any do we have oil rigs yet? Okay, we got oil refineries and chemical plants. And I think up here, I believe we did just yes, we did just bring some oil down. So I think the first thing we should probably do is build some oil. Actually, the first thing we should do is, because I haven't been here in 2 weeks, we should refresh ourselves with what's going on in the factory. What have we built here? What have we built here? I see we've got some science. We have green science here. Where's the? It looks like the green science is built just off the mall, so that's not very good. As is the red science, so that's also not very good. We don't have a dedicated red and green science, so they will run out quite quickly as we start using materials. So this is probably at its limit. We probably can't add really any more stuff to this. I think over here, looks like we have a secondary mall here. I think this is, I don't know where it's getting its materials from. It looks like we've got a new iron patch here. Where's the iron? Yeah, we've got a new iron patch here, which, that'll be fine. Well, how much power do we have? How's power looking? Power's looking okay. We'll survive a little while. We've got some steel rather. That's just being used on its own. Looks like we had just built a bunch of radar towers to expand the map to find more resources, and of course we built a very we generated a very high water world. So we've got to build around the water. Looks like here we did build chemical plants. Did we also build refineries? We also built refineries. Okay, we're actually further ahead than I thought. I thought the first thing we was going to do was have to automate refineries and chemical plants. Looks like we've done it. Have we got any in our inventory? No, we haven't. Let's go pick some up then. Let's go pick some up. And do we have any? Yes, we've got some of those boxes. What are we short on? We've got lots of these. I think we've got quite a lot of everything at the moment. So let's just sort of head over to where that oil is and turn a lot of that into petroleum, because that'll allow us to make a whole bunch of stuff and get us along our way. And hopefully we'll stay somewhat organised. There's nothing here, so let's chop down these trees. Yeah, but yeah, these comic arguments I have with anonymous people on the internet, they really can't, objectively speaking, they're a waste of time. I'm wasting my time with them because I'm arguing with people who are disingenuous. They're people, they just hate manga. they I don't even think they particularly like Western comics either, but they hate manga. They hate manga. I think they feel threatened by manga. I think they're old people who have grown up with Western comics, and they're probably Americans, so they kind of don't like Japan anyway, and they don't like the weebs and stuff. They're typical anime haters. They're anime haters, so they hate manga and stuff, and they hate particularly in the context of this because it's America's pride and joy, the comic industry. So they don't like that they're completely outselling their entire industry. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Let's see. I remember I said we wanted to sort of move up in this direction, so let's put down some oil refineries. I don't really know how many we need. And how does this go again? What do they work? Oil goes in, that comes out. Let's just put down a whole bunch. And I think to fit the power poles in, I think I need a bit of space. 6 will do. 6 will do. 6 will probably do us. I should probably copy and paste the thing. Hold on. I'm gonna try and think how to do this. Yeah, like that, like that. I haven't played Factorio in 2 weeks, and we were going straight in with oil processing, which is totally not easy. Not a good thing to do. Hold on, I don't want to do that. Yeah. How do we want to get the oil out of here? Like so. Why is it blocked? Why is it blocked? Do we need a pump? Pump? Can we pump it? Okay, that worked. Let's get the oil out of here. How do we do this effectively? Like that? I don't think I really needed to have it like that. I can still walk down these. Like that, and I suppose we'll put that in the box also. Let's bring. Do we have the big power lines yet? We haven't even unlocked them yet. Okay, small power lines it is. Okay, that's petroleum gas. We'll probably turn all this oil into this by the end of this. And so what do we need to do? We need to research chemical science. That's the next thing we're gonna do, and there's probably a bunch of other stuff we want to do as well. Trains, I suppose. I think we're gonna need another oil, another iron patch. I think this one's gonna be used exclusively for our stuff here, and it's gonna run out soon anyway. So we want to find the next iron patch, which is right over here. So I suppose what we should do is we should build something over here, and then build a train that comes from here to here. How do we want to do the trains? Now, I've tried building single, double-headed trains before with a single rail. I can't figure it out. So I'm going to not do that, and instead, have we unlocked trains yet? Do I have trains? Looks like we don't. Wait, do I need chemical science for trains? No, I don't. It is yellow. Oh, okay. We've automated. Okay. We're just doing logistics. I suppose we gotta chop down all these trees then. That's the next thing I suppose we should do. We'll build off in this direction. We'll build something there. How much wood are we carrying? We're carrying a little bit of wood. Although we're getting to the once we unlock the bigger the metal power poles, wood becomes a useless resource. And power's still fine. I forget how much power these oil refineries use. Well, they use a fair bit. But we'll be alright. We'll just turn all of this into. Have we unlocked any of the intermediates yet? Have we got plastic? That's coal and petroleum. Yes. But looks like we're currently bottlenecked on research. So nothing to do but wait. I suppose I could go over there and set up some stuff initially. Oh, I kind of need to go to the toilet. That might be a good idea, actually. That'll waste some time. But yeah, these comic arguments I have, they're totally disingenuous. Like, the people just simply don't like. They just don't like manga. And I don't think they like comics either. But they'll defend comics to the death, and then they'll use all kinds of sort of arguments that are quite they're designed to distract. They're trying to sort of shut down the argument, and waste your time. It's like you say, oh well, this is really bad. And say, oh well, can you name the statistics of this being bad? It's like, look, everyone knows it's really bad, but by saying that, now I've got to go away for like 2 weeks, gather some statistics to say, oh yeah, it's really bad, and then a lot of these arguments they're just like that forever. And it's sort of it's a sneaky tactic, and so I've become very aggressive. Where I'm like, okay, I'm getting these arguments, I'm getting all these data points that you are arguing, and no, I'm getting them. I'm going to get them in such a comprehensive and easy to digest manner that the only way you can possibly argue against it is if you somehow produce an equally comprehensive argument. Of course, they can't do that because the only examples they can bring up are singular examples. I think in the example of backgrounds being incongruent with the artist's style in manga, you know, I went and got like 50 examples of, well, not 50, I got maybe 20 examples of backgrounds looking totally fine. Look at all from, you know, some very very famous mangas, and then their only counter argument was one panel from Chainsaw Man. It's like, okay, you haven't defeated my argument, and I don't think anyone thinks you've defeated my argument. You know, so I think that's, you know, that's a pretty effective move on my part. I was also having a bit of a weird argument actually, and I don't even, I'm not even sure fully what my position on it is. I was having an argument about Alex Ross. Now he's a very famous artist. He does very sort of realistic looking superhero stuff. And I know how he makes his art. He copies, he takes like photos and he copies from photos, and it kind of looks like that. But you know, I'll give him credit where he's true. He's very good at doing that. He knows how to make a realistic looking picture, and that takes a lot of skill. My complaint about him is that it doesn't really belong in the comics world, in my opinion. It's sort of like, you know, it's like you have like a 5-hour-long opera. That doesn't really belong in a concert. You know what I mean? It's too long. It's boring in the context of a concert. You know, you can't get drunk and party to a 5-hour-long opera. It can be well made, but it doesn't belong in that kind of place, and that's basically the argument I make about Alex Ross. You know, he makes these really good illustrations, but I don't think he's really well suited to making stories and comics. And he has a few comics where he has made them, and they're kind of a bit I don't think they look very good. And one example we had was it was this one comic. Where am I taking this stuff? Stone can go in here. Where are my power poles? Power poles. Wood can go in here. Not sure what to do with coal. Coal can go in one this. Okay, there we go. Back to chopping down trees. But he had this page. So Alex Ross had this page, and it was really well drawn. Hello, Slushy, hello. And he had this page. It was really well drawn, but the speech bubbles didn't really make much sense. They felt like they were kind of blocking the page in a weird sort of way. And my suspicion was that actually Alex Ross drew the page without any really knowledge of where the speech bubbles were to go. Maybe not even what the speech bubbles were going to contain. And so I spent like an hour photoshopping out all the speech bubbles, and I think it actually improved the page. I won't show it because but I think it actually improved the page. It's sort of, I don't know. It's a weird sort of argument, weird sort of comics debate. But hello, Stushy. How are you doing? It's another baking hot day today here in England, and we are suffering. We're suffering. I'm just chopping down trees while I think of what to do. Why is this taking so long? 12 minutes? Oh, maybe that's what I should have done. Maybe I should have made more science so I could have done that quicker. I think what I'll do to spend the 12 minutes while that stuff unlocks. I think I've got more, so that's 200. That's 75. That's 200 as well. Ooh. It's gonna take a while. Just chilling and studying. Oh yeah, I have such a bad memory. I always forget you're studying. I just sort of. I think sometimes what I have is I'll meet a person, and I'll meet them in a particular point in their life where they're I have a fan on but I like wearing pants. I see. It sounds like it's hot there as well. But what was I gonna say? But I'll meet a person. I'll meet them in a particular sort of point in their life. Oh, that's full up. I'll meet them at a particular stage in their life, and that like becomes fixed. Maybe I meet them when they were a student at college or something, and then 10 years later, I still imagine them as a student in college, but it's like no. I left college years ago. I'm moving up in my career now, and I can't shake it. I just can't shake it. All right, what do we have? We need probably a few more of those. They're probably down here. My automated miners. There they are. I see them. We'll take a bunch of those. Oh, we'll need a bunch of belts. Where have I put belts? Belts over here. Is this the only belts I've got? It's kind of a bad place to put belts. We'll take a bunch of belts. 1,000? Will 1,000 do to get all the way over here? I'm going to take a few more. I don't trust it. And then we've got enough power poles. So let's begin the trek. Begin the trek. Actually, hold on. No. We're not going to use belts over here. We're going to use trains, aren't we? I definitely don't want to bring a belt here. Where is it? It's I can get up to here, then I'll diverge off there. But you know, so I think you know, one of these days, you know, I recently found a Yu-Gi-Oh MMO. What? Tell me about this. Tell me about this Yu-Gi-Oh MMO. That sounds interesting. A Yu-Gi-Oh MMO. I'm trying to think how a Yu-Gi-Oh MMO would work. I guess you have to have the game, right? You're still playing the game. Like you're not going around with a sword killing goblins, right? Yeah, you'd have to play the game, and I guess maybe the MMO I don't know, how would this work? How would this work? You have to tell me about it. Sounds kind of cool. It's an old MMO, a very old internet MMO. It only has the first 3 packs, and you're forced to start out with only the first pack. So I'm literally using guys that needed to be tributed for 600, 1600 attack. Well, if it has tributes on it, it must be more modern than some of the games I played. some of the Yu-Gi-Oh games I played. I think I played that old Game Boy one, but that was quite old. There's NPCs to duel for points and other players. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like a great idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Was that 10 or did I count wrong? 10. I'm good at maths. Alright, how many did we get out of there? We got 56. Can I fit a few more? No, I'll be alright. I can fit a few more, but I won't. Oh, you know, I miss when games were simpler and they ran in the browser. You know, you just log in. Sometimes you could play a game, you didn't even need an account. You put in a name and that was it. You know, if you did make an account, it was just that. It was just hang on, what am I doing here? That's like 15. That's also like 20. That these two together make one belt. And this here, we're gonna have to do a bit of balancing. I thought I'd have an extra belt with. That'll do. A bit wonky. Okay. Let's bring in the power lines. It connects to Discord for your account. I see. Oh yeah, but I was saying, it's like, you know, in the past, the amount of things that were, it was just a username and password. That was it. You didn't even have an email. You know, if there was an email, the email existed. It was like an optional thing. It was an optional thing, just if you want to reset your password or something. But most people didn't use it, and it was just email and just username and password. Just username and password. And there was basically no restrictions on any of it. You could yeah, the username was your username. It wasn't. You didn't have like username and then, you know, display name. None of that. It was just username. And then is this the oil? This can't be the coal we're going to use. That's way too small. Is there a bigger oil? Look, oil. I mean coal. Crap, that's not. Okay, that is the coal we're going to be using. Let's clean this up a bit. And the password. There was no restrictions on the passwords. You know, if you wanted to, you could make your password and it let you do that. And I mean, it sounds weird. I'm kind of glamorizing like having terrible passwords, but I don't know. It was so much simpler. It was so much simpler that there was no such thing as two-factor authentication. Email was a thing you used to talk to people. It wasn't a security tool for authenticating anything. Most people didn't your phone, and again, your phone was also just a thing for talking to people. You didn't use it as any kind of verification tool. It was a simpler time. Your verification tool was your password. You type in the username, you type in the password, you're done. That's it. That's the whole thing. I think it's because I 40 of these stuff. How do I want to position these? So. I'm going to fit a lot more in it. I don't know if I fit 40 in there. I could probably even fit a few more if I didn't run out. Let's bring these around. What am I doing? Okay. That'll solve our coal problems. I forget what I need for making red belts. Can I do it with just I don't know what it needs. Okay, well that's a load of coal. We wanna ship that over as well. There's copper over there, so we can ship that over if we need it. So we can bring it down here. I don't know what we'll do with it. We'll have to set up. I have to think about how we want to do these trains. I think I just do the trains as I normally do the trains. I think there's no reason to deviate from them. And once we get to the base, there won't be any trains. So we'll have a line go through the base. That's a good idea. Once we unlock trains, another 2 minutes for these. Let's go make some plastic. Let's go back to the base and make some plastic. So we could do with a bunch of that. I forget how much coal it uses. I don't think it uses very much coal at all, so we'll probably steal the coal that we've got from our dinky little coal patch. And we'll be fine there. Oh yeah, but it is a hot day today. It's it's been a hot year. It's been a hot year. It really has. Wait, no. Have it like there. Like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, well that'll work. How do we want to do this? Like that, okay. actually, well, this is, I'm wasting these. That. Just like that. There we go. There we go. Now we got to go get the other bits. That doesn't need to be there. Belts. Oh, can I fit a power line here? Can. Oh, where's this going? Let's go down. Okay, let's go get the coal. Which way is this coal line going? This way. I think it's fine to steal from, maybe? No, it's still from right here. We'll take it from right here. Which way is this going? This way is going this way. Up here. Over here. And there we go. That's plastic. Oh, hang on. There's a thing I want to do here. Go on this side. That'll make it go on the right side of the belt. And give us loads of plastic. Nice. Ah, it looks like we just unlocked those belts. They require... Oh, they're really simple to make. It's just a bunch of iron. Okay. Okay, I'll do that in a bit then. I think railways are going to unlock much quicker. 5 minutes. Can we make anything else? No. We do, just that for now. I remember years ago I played it was like some weird Pokemon game, but it wasn't, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It was an in-browser Pokemon game that it was a web page with a grid on it, and on the grid were players, and I don't know if they had their, and I think they had like a profile picture of something, and then, or if it was just a picture of the Pokemon itself. I can't actually remember if it was even online, but and you'd click on it, and you'd move your character one tile over, and then you'd have to refresh the page for that to update, and it would take ages for the page to load in. It would take like 30 seconds for the page to load in. It was old times, and if you was right next to another Pokemon tile, you could click on that, and it would activate a battle, and I think the battle would just happen as like a statistical dice roll sort of thing. And if you won, you would get the Pokemon or something. I think that's how it worked. And then you get your Pokemon, and you could train them up, and they would level up and stuff. And it was really bad. It was really bad. There was one Pokemon in it. It was a Ghastly, I think. It was either a Ghastly or a Gengar. I think one of them evolves into the other. But the lower evolution one of it was really weak. It did like no damage. It was like a 1% chance of killing the opponent. But the leveled up version was super powerful. It was like a one-hit kill on everything. And yeah, it was just poorly coded. The whole thing was just poorly coded, poorly balanced. And then so that was and so I remember I spent God knows how long with this useless Pokemon, rolling the dice trying to level it up so it could evolve into this like super overpowered Pokemon, and I don't think I ever got it, but it was a silly time. It was a silly time. All right, what are we doing? Let's go pick up more of those miners in case we need them. They're good to have. Pick up more of these. I can feel the same energy in this game. I can imagine. If you say it's like an old browser-based MMO, I can imagine, but yeah, it's like what I miss. That kind of it's so simple, All right, we're waiting for railway so we can build a long railway up here to pick up these 2 items and bring them in and expand our base. Let's think of how we would do this. Actually, let's think how we would do this. I think we would because I'd want maybe we'd have a railway go through here, although there's these mountains in the way I don't think I can quite get rid of just yet. Maybe I don't want to get rid of. Although they've got to go through some mountains anyway. We're really far away from getting any kind of thing, so it's gonna be difficult. I don't think this is gonna be a very neat looking railway. I think it's gonna be a messy one. Let's put down some radars along the way. That'll help us get a better look at it. How many radars am I holding right now? I don't see any in my inventory. I guess I've got none. Take 50 from there. Let's put down a bunch of radars on the way, and it'll illuminate the path. This one will go right here. Let's keep on going. Oh, I didn't place that actually so well. I should have put that maybe one block down or something. I don't know. This one right here. Yeah, you know. Hello, Ayumukon. If I can remember what Ayumukon's model looks like, it rings a bell. Yes, I think I've been in your channel before. Let me look at the profile picture. Doesn't tell me anything. I think I've seen you before. But we're playing Factorio. What were you playing? And obligatory raid and run if you must raid and run, that sort of thing. But hello, we're playing Factorio. Let me just place this radar down and I'll show you the base. We have a base. It's very small. We're still only on green science at the moment. We have our green science and we have our red science. Not to any kind of big number. Final Fantasy 14. I see. See, I haven't played that game. I've played RuneScape. That's what I've played before. I played RuneScape, but we have a very watery world in Factorio here. We are waiting on the train unlock so we can build a choo-choo railway. But thank you for the raid. Well, welcome. My name is Sun. I'm Roman or something. Yeah, what watery worlds are. They're definitely a challenge. I'm definitely having a challenge with it. It's a very narrow pathways to walk through. But that's just what you need in Factorio. Otherwise you automate the fun out. You optimize the fun out of it. Oh, okay, we got sticks. And railways. Okay, how do we build these railways? We need sticks, stones, and steel. So we'll build it over on the left side of our base here. And we will have lots of railways. I'll steal this. Steal some of that. Oh, I can probably build it right here, actually. Yes. From there. Whoosh. Then we'll do this. Like that. Whoosh, and that gives us all the materials we need. So we need sticks. Sticks is from iron. What's the ratios? Put a thing down and have a look at the ratios. It is 1.5 sticks. How much is a stick? A stick is free, so it's 1 to 2 there. And okay, 1 to 2. Can we make a cool design out of that? Let's see. Good, three of those. We'll bring this round to there. Boop, 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 boop. Drop those down. These will be sticks. Power. There we go. And then for these, can we build 6 of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We might have to merge some stuff onto another belt here. Like that. And then this one here can go like that. And then there'll be another belt here that goes like that. And we'll go there. Into a box. Into a box. Into a box. Where's my red ones? Red ones? Like that. Be good. And there they go. There they go. We need anything else. We're gonna need automated railways. I think those are easily made on the mold. Always need lots of these. Always need endless amounts of these, because we'll need a lot of these later for some other science. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Already I've these make 3 per second, so actually these won't even fit on this belt. I haven't played Factorio in 2 weeks, so I'm a bit rusty there. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We filled up an empty space. At some point, we'll have to replace this stone. Where's our next stone patch? All the way up there. Let's see. We'll need that sooner than later. These dry up very quickly. But alright, we're building the rails, so how many do we have so far? We've got 100 so far. That's basically nothing. Do we have the train stations yet? We've got the trains and the train stations. Let's go build some of those. Looks like we have a belt for these. I'll bring this around. We'll need that. Train. Train, train, train. What do we need? We need steel. And we need that. Oh, we're running out of boxes. Running out of boxes. Oh, I should maybe I should just build steel boxes. I believe those are just steel. Yes, they're just steel. And we only need 50 of those. Steel box. Put on a random box here. We don't need that. we shall upgrade to steel boxes. And the trains, they stacked quite a bit. I think we need 4 of those. Oh, is it stacked to 20 now? It stacks to 5. That's not very much. Okay. And then the locomotives. Also easy to make. Oh. Ingredient shortage. Oh dear. These are not quite as powerful as I thought. Oh well. Well, we only need a few. We'll start for just 1. That's a good amount to start off with. Okay. Yes. What are these? These stacked to 20, right? These stacked to 40. Is that changed? 40 is plenty. Really? No, storage size 40, stack size 5. Okay. Okay, we actually need quite a lot of those. Okie dokie. Anything else? Anything else? That's all we can do for now. How are we doing for those rails? How are we doing for rails? We've got 500 rails. That's enough to get started. Let's go. Let's put some rails down. How do we want to tackle this then? I know we want to get tricky. Maybe we'll just get somewhere to here. Let's just sort of go at it. Let's just sort of go at it. See how we fare. We can always extend further if we need to. Okay, we'll start here then. See how we go. There's trains, trees in our way. Trees in our way. Is that pipe going to be in our way? We can go this way. Like that. There's a cliff nearby. I want to crash into the cliff. Laying railways is a lot slower without robots. Oh, hang on. How are we gonna make this turn? Can I make this turn? Just about. And it's easy sailing onwards and upwards. What do we want first? I think first we should get coal, because coal gives us the ability to use coal as fuel for trains and not have to worry about running out. So let's be a bit tidy about that there. Oh, we should have made a turn earlier. Like there, perhaps? Or right there. Destroy the tree. Nice. Looks like there's more cliffs up ahead. We've got to figure out how to get around. Right, so we can squeeze through them. Okay, and that brings us there. How do we want to load this up? I think first we should build the second rail. Where's my train? Let's get on my train and drive back. Don't have much coal on me. Once we've got sort of two rails, that'll help us figure it out. Whoosh! Much fun. No. Alright. I wonder how difficult this is going to be. I usually opt for totally straight lines with my rails. This is unorthodox for me. Definitely not used to it. Oh, are we going to crash into the cliff here? Come on now. We can squeeze through this surely. Yeah, just about. I don't know how close you can get rails before they crash. I think you can get them really close. Nice. Oh, we should put the rails on our hot part. That'd be a good idea. That way we know how many we have. Oh, already down to 200. Okay, we have to go back for a refill in a moment. Oops. I'm going to leave that there, because that'll tell me if I can actually get that close, or if that'll crash. In fact, I can test that right now. Let's test it right now. Actually, no, we can't test it right now, because we only have one train. We don't have two trains. Okay. I don't think we have any of the other bits either. Oh, can we get through here? think we can. Nice. It's going a lot better than I was expecting. I was expecting more trouble, but let's drive back and get some more supplies. I'll pick up a bit of coal also, I think, because we've already got through half the coal, just going back and forth there. Wow, my god, it's hot. I've got 2 fans on. 2 fans on, and I'm still baking. Let's drink a bit of water, and that'll cool us down a bit. I no longer have lukewarm water. I have an old mini fridge that I hadn't been using for years. I brought it into my room, so I have refrigerated water, which is very, very nice to have. All right, we need trains and rails. That's what we need. Trains and rails. We have not yet unlocked automated rail transport, so we don't have stuff to do it properly. Oh, we'll probably want to build a train station, so we'll need a bunch of stuff for that. How's this looking? Wow, that went really fast. Okay. Where's that cardboard box? Wooden box, rather. We put all that wood and stuff in there. No coal in there. Where can I get coal from? I can steal coal from here. With, what is it, Z? No. E? No. G? No. I? No. Is it not Q? No. A? C? P? I? O? F? F. There we go. Yes, that's the hotkey. I actually didn't need that much. I picked up way too much. We only need 50. Alright, we want some of these. Some of these. Okay, we also want a bunch of inserters and boxes. How many boxes do we have here? We need more than 50. We're going to need 200. We've got 1,000 of those. We've got loads of splitters. I'll get a few more inserters. Use a lot of inserters for this kind of stuff. So I'll get a load of those. Well, how big do we want our trains? Are we going for 4-size trains? I think we are. I always go for 4-size trains. I'll probably get away with a smaller size though. But where are my blue inserters? Up here. Okay, I think that's all we need. Let's head on over to the coal one will be the first one we do, I think. Let's see how this goes. I can also, while I'm here, I can test if it crashes. Is it there that it crashes, or I think it's further up ahead? Here it is, here it is. Let's reverse. Can I reverse? Yes. There, it doesn't crash. Okie dokie. We can get real close with those rails then. That's good to know. Alright. Here's where we want to build a station. How do we want to do it? So the rail's going this way, and they've got to connect back to the other one somehow. So I think we should have it break off here. Like that. Don't know how long it needs to be, but then connect back there, and then we'll have a turning around bit somewhere. Let's just put it. Oh, train station. Do we have train stations? Ah, that's with automated rail transportation. We don't have train stations. That's kind of annoying. Let's just put down a rail anyway. See if it fits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's move this up. Okay. So we want a load there, load there, load there, one there. I don't know how close these need to be to fit. There we go. That's why we needed loads of those. We're gonna have to replace these. The middle ones won't reach. We're gonna have to replace those with different ones later. Okay, now we want this to come down. Like so. These ones go here, these ones will go here. These ones will go like this. And that one will go there. Okie dokie. That'll fuel the train as well. And let's make some kind of turnaround somewhere around here. Don't know what we're gonna do here. I think cut these off for the time being. We can really put those anywhere. Look at these trees, they're in the way. Okay. Go in that direction. Okay, can I now see if I can do a bit of a loop-de-loop here like that. Can? Do I have any landfill on me? I don't. Alright, I'm gonna get landfill. Take the train back though. And by that, and while we're there, then we'll build all the other various bits and pieces. Landfill, pick up a landfill. That's got what I remember. There's the pieces we need. Let's go automate them. Pick up some landfill while we're here. Now, what do we need for these? Sticks? Ah, it's all easy stuff. All easy stuff. Okay. So these two can just go like this. I think that was the last of our inserters, assemblers rather. Good. Don't need too many of those. Where are my assemblers? Here they are. Oh no, I had 10 of them. I don't know why that abruptly stopped. Alright, we need I can go there, and then I can take from here, where is it? Like that. Making that. There's a train station. How many do these stack? Do they stack to 10? 10 will be fine. Let's get some rail signals as well. That'll get us going. Okay. Looking good. Oh, did we have the... no, we haven't unlocked them yet. Let's put them... Oh, it's already on the list. Alright, we're making good progress. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. These railways are a lot thinner than I thought. I thought it was going to be really hard to fit them in place, but I think they'll fit around everything really easily. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have filled that train up with a load of coal, because what if the train station might... Actually, no, it'd be fine, it'd be fine. I think it'd be fine. Let me put down the train station. Can I rotate this? No? Okay. Train station. And we'll call this... Coal... Pick one. Okay, and let's put our signals. Like that. One at the end. Like that. There's an intersection here, so that can go like that. And, wait. Let's just go again. Like that. You would never go down this way, though. Why, I think that's how it's supposed to go. I can remember how those work. I think that's it. If it blocks up, we'll soon find out. Oh, hold on. There's no coal going to our train. We should fix that. Let's always make sure there is coal going to the train. This box doesn't need to be very big. Okay, landfill. I wanna not get in the habit of this. Because that defeats the point of having lots of water. And I probably could have made this ugly, but it's really kind of a small amount of landfill, so I think it's probably fine. It's really not a lot. There we go. We even made it wonky. That lets us rotate. Okay, can we hold on, get in there. Vehicle is inaccessible. Oh, there we go. Make sure we're at the station. Okay, let's take this somewhere else. I'll get a train to do that. We'll take this to our base, or to the refuel station. That's what we'll call it. To a refuel station. How do we want to do that? Where should we put that? Let's put it here. Let's make this whole area the refuel place. Hang on. It's got to be sensible. No. Leave that. I like to have a few of these. They've got to be the length of one train. Oh wait, hang on, I know how to do it, So it's going this way, so I need her. Ugh. It'll be a big loop. Let's get the other rail. These power lines. There we go. How long is one station? That long. That's long enough. Hold on. Can we go around this? I think we can. Okay, we made our loop, a loop-de-loop, and now we got to figure out how to get the things on it. I think it goes like this, but there's gonna be a cliff in the way. Maybe we'll do this bit first. Oh, there's gotta be one down. That is a cliff we cannot surpass. There's going to be a oil thing we can't surpass. How annoying! No. Can we move the pipe? Can we move the pipe? How do we want to do this? Bring it like that, and then that, and then all the way out here. How's that got oil in it? Like that. We'll delete that one. And that one. And that moves the oil out of the way. Nice. Okay. Which way? The train's coming down this way. Let's put our signals in place. I'll put them on the thing. Okay. Train comes down this way. And then the station is here. Right there. With that. This is a refuel station. Okay. Where's my power line? How are we doing for power? Still doing good for power. These also don't need to be very big. Okay, now we want, we'll call this refuel 1, or just refuel. Refuel. Okay. Actually, we will call it refuel 1 in case we make more. Okay, but we've got to get coal here, which means we need a coal drop-off. Oh, hang on, I need to put the signals here somehow. Like that. And like that. Okay. Okay, I think that's all good. They go all the way down here if they want. They can bypass that. Let's add someone to drop off the coal. Can we do it right here? Can we drop off coal here? Like that. Station. Was that my last station? I think it was. We need another station. These are running out. So iron will probably be next. I'll have to remember to connect coal up there as well. Where was it again? Oh, train station. How far in are we now? We are now an hour and a half in, so I'm sort of getting to my limit. It seems already. I feel the fatigue creeping up. So we won't survive much longer. I think to make sure we don't ruin our trains, I think it's going to have to be one train per one stop, not multiple trains per stop. Otherwise, we'll clog everything up. Alright, does that cover the whole thing? It does. Good, good, good. Do I have room to put that here? Yes, I do. Goes to the end of my station, like that. And let's put off the put on the end bits, like yeah. Do I have enough inserters for this? I think I might just. Okay, that is coal drop 1. Coal drop 1. Let's bring the power line over. And we want to send this coal. We'll have to upgrade the belts eventually. Bring the coal down. Oh yeah, I forgot belts can go past cliffs. And we'll bring this to the base. Ay, ay, ay. Why did I bring it all the way down here? I guess we'll have to build that down here then. But one of these will have to split off and go to our refuel center. It's a rock. Okay, let's I think we've got a completed circuit now, but I do want to add a few more signals going up and down it, just to keep it nice and clean. Just make sure things work properly. And hopefully we won't have train trouble. That's there was a nightmare. Right, that should be it. Let's see what we're doing with this train. It's is it full up yet? It seems to be full up. Yes. Okay, let's get in the train. And let's see. We want to go to coal pick 1, refuel 1, coal drop 1. Coal pick 1 is full cargo, empty cargo, full fuel. Let's see if it all works. Got our loop-de-loop. Wait, there's no coal in the refuel stations. Wait, why is it... Uh-oh. It didn't go to the refuel station. It's gone back here. Uh-oh. Refuel. Full. Coal drop. Can it not get to coal drop? Have I screwed up? Where's it going? Okay, well, now it's going there. Now it's going there. Don't know what's going on there, but I need to put some coal in there. So make sure it can actually refuel. I don't see any reason why it couldn't get to the stop first time. Now it's taking... It's... This is a bad train route. I need to add more opportunities for it to turn around. But there we go, we made it. Hooray! There's that coal, and now this will work forever without any problems ever. Hey. Nice. Do we have those power lines yet? Not yet. They're still quite a ways away. There we go. Loads of coal. Coal problems solved. Let's go. Attach one of these lines to our old coal line so it doesn't run dry, because that is the quickest and the most immediate way in which the first power loss arises. So let's just bring one down here like this. Go down here. A little bit down here, and delete this. Down here, and onto the line. Good, that won't run out anymore, even if those run out. Okay, that solves coal problems for a while. As well as that. So the next thing we need is to do the same thing, but for iron. But before I want to do that, I do want to make our trains turn around a bit easier. So they're going to get around here, and they're going to get onto the other line somehow. So we want to go. I'm not sure how to do this. Not in this ugly place anymore. What if I go, if I go like, there's some kind of intersection. No, I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. That's too much brain power. I think we may be done here. I think we may be done here. Is there anything we can automate before we finish? We unlocked something. I don't know what it was. Oh, the fluid wagon. We do want to automate the fluid wagon. So we'll want to make some of those. We don't need sticks for these, I don't think. No. Well, I'm stuck on the trees. How are we doing for power after all that? It crept up a little bit. For these, we're going to need this arrangement. One makes pipes. Oops, wrong pipe. That pipe. One makes these, and then this one here makes fluid wagons. Can't remember what any of this stuff needs. This one needs that and that, so that is both. This one needs that and that is both, and this one just needs that, it does not do that. Okay. And we'll need some of these. There we go. Fluid wagons. I think we've done some good today. We made a start on the trains. Oh, it's already going. Let's see. They're a bit slow at the moment because we've got both yellow belts and finger trick. I think once we bring iron over, then we can sort of enhance our production. We can make some red belts, and I think I want to try and get red belts quickly so I can actually switch over to red belts entirely, because I never do that in my playthroughs, and it's always a headache. But we've already got the opportunity here, which is just to expend one off there and do the thing. I'm going to have to build an intersection somewhere. Like right here, I'll build an intersection. Then that'll give us the opportunity to turn the train around. Well, I do want the copper right here. I don't know. I'll think about it. You know, may want to extend power at some point. Because once we start building more assemblers, they'll go up very quickly. We are extended. There's a lot of water. There's a lot of water. More stone up there. Not much iron in sight. That's worrying. Plenty of copper though. Well, plenty. I say there's two. I can see two. I'm colorblind, so I can barely see the copper. I can see one here and one here. If there's others here, I have not seen them. I guess there's some copper there, but that's terrible. I really can't see any more. So we definitely have to make some very long train lines, I think. Snaking all over the place. But I think the main area will be here. I should probably add a train that goes through here before I build here. Maybe that's what we'll do actually before we finish. Let's go pick up some more of these. Hold on, I'll throw some more stuff in this this box before, because otherwise we'll fill up our inventory with rubbish. Okay. And put we won't connect it up, but it will just be a line going through here, so we know not to build over there. That way we can get through our base on a train. Start right here. Tree in the way, tree in the way. Okay, that gets us through. Let's do the other one. Once we get the robots, this will be a lot easier. Okay, that gets us through. I have no idea how we're gonna connect it up anywhere here. This is a mess. But there we go. We've got a thing. It's good to have that we can cut through the base of the train. Yeah, I don't know what else to do for now at least. I'm at my brain's end. Figuring out trains for the first time in a while is always a bit of a brain bender. Once you've got it set up, then it's just a matter of extending it. But setting up for the first time is always requires more thinking. Where would maybe I? No, I probably want to add a few more things for refuels in here. I may even have like other kinds of refuels, maybe like retrofit it with something else, or like rocket fuel or something at some point in the future. I suppose I'll have to add some kind of intersection here. Where's the other train line? Oh, I can't actually. We'll have to probably. Oh, can we go around here? Is there room around here? Let me have a look. Let me have a look. That sounds interesting. Give me a radar. Radar. Where's my radars? There they are. Can I squeeze around here? It connects up some of these. Could I get around here? Because then I can connect up there. That would be neat. Might be possible. Let's have a look. Okay, one bit of landfill, that's fine. May have to have a little bit of landfill just to cover that gap. That's fine. Oh, look at that! Look at that! That's cool. That's how we'll go through the base then. No, what do you call this type of thing? It's not an isthmus, is it? Or is that's like a thing above water, I think. Yearly reminder to stay hydrated. No, I disagree. It's I've decided I shall never drink water ever again. I hate water. I am dry like the leaves. I don't know what am I talking about. Give me. Where's my water bottle? Hello, Sharko. Sharko, are you factory pilled? Are you factory pilled? You like Factorio? The only Pocari sweat I know of is I don't know though. This is Unk knowledge now. There was a fursuiter called Pocari Sweat who was based off the brand of water called Pocari Sweat, but they don't sell that in the UK, so I'd never heard of it. So I only know of the furry called Pocari Sweat. But, we're building weird and wacky railways. Illegal railways. Yeah, that's connected. I'm gonna connect this one. Yeah, one of these days I need to find one of those games that is just the railway part of a factory game. But I think the trouble is with I've seen a few examples of those kinds of games where you're just building the railways and you got to do railway logistics. But part of the problem is while you can choose I think where to place the railways, where you place the stations is often predetermined. You know, it's often where the resource is, and so the positioning of them is always a bit. It's like kind of static, and so that you very quickly find neat solutions to things. You don't do whatever this nonsense is. So that's one apprehension. Okay, let's see. Before we do finish, give me a train. Give me a choo-choo train. Choo-choo train. I have no coal. Crap. Can I put wood in there? I can put wood in there. How slow is it? Oh, it's faster than coal. What the hell? Been scammed. That's actually really fast. What the hell? I didn't realise that. Wood-powered train. More trees in my way. In my way. Nature in my way. Is there a choo-choo train? That means there are other noises of the train. Well, sometimes they make a crash sound. That's not a good sound. Well, it could be a good sound. It might be a good sound. Right, let's see if we can. Oh, there's a cliff in the way. Okay, let's see if we can make a very cursed intersection here. Let's see if it's possible. Connect that. Is it possible to make an intersection out of this? Well, I'll get rid of these first. They're in the way. Okay, so the first thing we need is left. It's got to go to the left, so this is going to connect there. This one here is going to connect there. I think that's right. This one here is also going to connect here somehow, like that. And then this one here is going to connect here. I think that's an intersection. Wait, no, these are surely gonna crash. I'll better test that before I release this beast on the wild. No, I've got it wrong. That. Like that. No. Come on now. Behave, my trains. I can barely tell the blue from the not blue. Okay. It's this part here that's not connected. Okay, look at that! Now let's see if these crash. Let's put one here, and then one here. Let's see if it crashes. It doesn't. This is a functioning intersection. Let's go and put down our signals. Okay, signals. They go half signals in. That's in. 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 Rail signals out. 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 Okay. That should work flawlessly. I feel like I'm missing something. No, I guess it's because I added on to a... Yeah, it should be fine. That should be a perfectly functional intersection. And although there'll be no reason for the trains to go down here for a while, because it doesn't lead anywhere. But wonderful, wonderful. Let's add one of these here. we just unlocked blue science. You know, I think that's a. Even though I thought we was going to make that today, I think we will not make that today. We'll make that 2 weeks from now. Because there's a whole bunch of... We need a lot of engine units, a lot of advanced circuits. That's a whole lot of production. We got to build that stuff. We have to bring over... I don't think we really need copper yet. We'll probably still from the old copper. But we will need to get some more iron. And we'll bring the iron somewhere around here. Oh, we've got the train network here. We can build a station here probably then, and then build it probably here, I guess. Yeah. That'll be blue science, and then the science thing's already right here. We'll probably have to move this actually. It's kind of in a bad location, but the belt is clean, so we can just sort of move the whole belt elsewhere. We're getting there. I can't believe this worked. I hope it'll work. It's not the cleanest intersection I've made. It looks a bit spiderwebby, but it's the fun of the game. I think we're winning. All right, I'm gonna give up here. Have we passed the 2-hour mark? No, we've got 3 minutes left. Bugger. In that case, let me save the game. Exit. And go to my just chatting screen, and I will rant about comics for the final 3 minutes, so we can pass the 2-hour mark. Now you're an artist, so you'll appreciate this. So I was having online internet arguments about comics, and what was the subject of it? The subject was about so manga artists like to there's a difference in sort of how manga artists make manga and how Western comic artists make comics. With Western comics artists, there's like 5 people working on a single comic. You've got like the pencilist, the inker, the letterer, all these different roles. And a complaint I often make is that they're not communicating very well. So the pencilist is doing his own thing, the inker's doing his own thing, the colorist is doing his own thing, and it doesn't make a cohesive product. By contrast, manga is like it's often like one guy, and at most they'll have assistants, but the assistants they're following strict directions from the main author. But the angry internet argument goes as follows. After I've thoroughly made this argument and I've thoroughly ruined their day with this argument about how there's too many cooks in the kitchen in the Western side of things, and they should be more like manga and be just like a one-man band. And so whoever this guy is, who's probably seeing these arguments and very upset about them, is like, oh, no, you see, there are too many cooks in the manga kitchen. And the way they're doing it is the assistants are doing their own thing, and they don't listen to the manga off, and it's not a cohesive product. And I said, what? What are you talking about? And then they showed me the example of Chainsaw Man, which, admittedly, the backgrounds don't really match the artist's style. And so, yes, in that sense, yes, you could say there's too many cooks in the kitchen, although, in my opinion, I would say that actually it's a lack of direction from the main artist. Fujimoto should probably be telling his assistants to draw properly and not draw off style, but that's like one example. It's like one example, and so and this person, whoever it is, kept making this argument, loads of times. So I was getting really sick of it. So I made a big collage of like 20 mangas, and I went and very carefully picked out panels that had both a main character in them, so because that would be drawn by the main author all the time. An assistant never draws the main character, and a complex background because that'll probably be drawn by an assistant. The main author almost never draws complex backgrounds, and so I had those together, and I asked myself, what do they look like? Does it look incongruent? Does it look bad? And no, they look fine. All of them are fine. It's only Chainsaw Man that's like one example that they don't look fine. And this is what I do. Okay, this is how passionate I am about these comics. I'll spend like 2 hours and stuff making some arguments, argue my case. And then in hopes that it's like I'm attacking them. I'm attacking them with a shotgun, in terms of arguments, legally speaking. It's Oh, I spend too much time. These people, they're not even genuine. You know, they're totally disingenuous. You know? They just hate manga. They just hate manga. They probably just hate Japan. They hate anime as well. They're always anime haters. Oh, all right. I've reached the 2 hour mark. I've successfully wasted time. Oh. See, see. Okay, I think okay. I think I've ranted about this before. You know, so and a lot of people are like, oh, you know, Son hates Western comics. He hates Western comics. I don't hate Western comics. In fact, I love Western comics. I just hate every extant example of Western comics. There's a big difference here, okay? So I save a lot, like, you know, I'll read a lot of Western comics, I'll read a lot of manga, and if I see like something, I'll like save a picture of it for whatever reason. So I've got like a big folder of both manga and Western comics, and actually my Western comics is bigger than my manga folder. Except all my I've like no good examples of good comics, and I have like no bad examples of bad manga. Or what's your favorite Western comic? I generally like older stuff. I can't think of like a single actual example. Can I actually? Let me quickly have a gander. Let me have a look. See if there is anything that I did actually like. Let's see. Western comics. What do we have? I don't like any of the classic recommendations like Killing Joke, Batman Year One, or Kingdom Come, or I don't like any of these. I don't like any of these. Is there any I did like? I kind of like Scott Pilgrim, but I don't think that really counts. I mean, sure, it's a Western comic, but it's independent. It's independent. It's not like it's a deviation from the norm. It's still Western, but it's not like generally my gripe is like, you know, because you know, anyone can draw anything, so what, you know, whatever, but generally my gripe is like from like an industry point of view. It's like, what are the standard practices? What's taught? How do they do things? You know, and this is what I have a problem with Western comics. If you go back to like the old times, so you get like the 50s, 60s, 70s. They're much more cohesive. They're much more cohesive. They're really quaint. They're very childish. They're very they're not very complex. Like you'll get wacky stuff. Like Batman will be fighting aliens and stuff, and you know, like Superman, he opens his fortress of solitude with a giant key that's too heavy for anyone except Superman. So I think there's another one. There's another one of Superman. The sun is dying out, and so he takes all the planets and he attaches a chain around all of them, and he drags all the planets to a new galaxy. It's like wacky stuff like that. You know, it's really like kind of. Do you have Diabolic? Let me Google Diabolic. Diabolic comic. Diabolic. What year? 1962. Quite old. I don't have Diabolic in there. Who makes it? Who makes it? Giussini, Italy. Oh, it's an Italian comic. It's a Euro comic. See, the thing is, so I'm looking right now, and I can see the cover, and the cover looks really cool. But what's that website? Crap. What's it called? Because the other one died. No, it's not. It's not that one's gone down. I can't remember. There's a website where you can find comics, but it's one recently died, another one. But you know, I hate covers. I hate covers because covers tell you nothing. They tell you nothing. Let me go to Google Images and see if there's any. I'm seeing black and white images. Looks a bit too clean for the 60s, in my opinion. Although the fashion matches the 60s, so maybe it is from the 60s. Suspiciously well done for the 60s. Yeah, suspiciously well done for the 60s. That's well, I'm saying suspiciously as from, you know, I mean, it's good. It's very good art. It's unusually good for the 60s. You know, Marvel and DC, they're not making anything nearly this good. Their art is during this period is extremely formulaic. You know, they're sort of at this point. Wait, when was I don't know when Iron Man was made. Iron Man, I think, is like 58 or something. When was Iron Man? Maybe Iron Man was like the 70s. Iron Man, Marvel. 1962. Okay, close enough. Close enough. Yeah. During this sort of period, they'll draw like characters like Iron Man, and the artists are so like they're not thinking at all. And so they'll often draw Iron Man like he's wearing a cloth costume, like all the other characters. So they'll draw him. He'll take his mask off like it's a cloth mask, and this problem was so bad. This was so bad that they ended. That it was so prolific that they would get these artists who were just they had no brain whatsoever, who were just copying the way they draw everything, and then they didn't understand that Iron Man was wearing metal. He was wearing armor. He wasn't wearing cloth. That they had to go and put in the law. Oh, actually, it does make sense. It's like a very advanced metal, and it can act like cloth. And it's like, I'm not buying it. Okay. I think both women who made a Diabolic died a while ago. Well, 1960s, I imagine they would be dead by now. That's quite a long time ago. But generally I do like the older comics. I don't. Well, it's not that I liked the older comics. I don't really personally like them because it's sort of like I don't know what country you're in Switzerland or something. Do they have those like candy sweets thing where I think it's like it's not gum, or maybe it is gum, where it comes in a roll. It comes in a roll, and you have to like unravel it to eat it. And on the paper packaging that's on the roll, there's like a comic strip on it of like the character, and there'll be like the mascots of. Some of them are pink, but they come in all different flavors. And on the paper packaging, as you unrolled it, it revealed a comic strip. And the comic strip would be of the mascot characters of what you're reading. So it'd be like some, walking blueberry or something, and they'd have some wacky antics. And that, frankly, that's kind of what comics in the 60s are like. The Marvels and DCs. That's kind of what they're like in that sort of period. It's extremely disposable. The stories just they're completely wacky. You can read them in like 5 minutes, less than that, 2 minutes even. And then you throw it away. Like you buy it, and I think like the comics would often come free with something else. Like you would buy some sweets, some candy, and it would come free with a comic book, and you'd read the comic book, and then you'd throw it away. Like sometimes they would have advertisement in it. They would have advertisements in it for like buying like a bike or something, or some toy. And back in those days, if you wanted to buy something like that, you had to rip page out, and you had to write your address and your details and stuff on the back, and you had to mail that off. So it's totally disposable. You literally would rip the comic to pieces because it had an advertisement on the back for something you wanted to buy. That's what comics were, and in a way, that's really wholesome. Really wholesome. It's just like a toy. It's a toy for kids. Cheap, disposable thing. Go to the store, read some comic, and the people making these were they knew this. They knew this. In fact, they did. To us, they didn't respect the medium. They kind of they a lot of the names for a lot of famous comic artists of that era, they're fake names, they're aliases. They didn't want to put their real name on it because it was a bad look. It was crummy work. The pink one, Bazooka. Let me Google. I'm not going to find this. Comic strips on comic strip candy sweets roll. Let me see if we can find it. No, don't type in roll. Winders. That was it. Winders comics. Wait, comic artists are like VTubers. I guess so. Winders sweets. Let me see if I can find it. And I'll go to my art program. It's the best way of doing anything. Arts. These things. And you see can you see the comic strip behind it? Let me see if I can find one that shows the comic strip itself. Here we go. See, they'd have a... And they would have some. You may have had something similar to this. You may have had something. I would imagine you probably had something similar to this. And it was, and these are the mascots of what you're eating, and they had some goofy story that happened, and they get turned into the sweet. They get turned into the thing that you eat, and it's like this is it's kind of it's technically a comic, I suppose, and you wouldn't. you wouldn't go and get this graded. You know, you wouldn't go and carefully say this and don't fold it and make sure it's not got any creases on it. And I'm going to get a 9.8 rating for this, and I'm going to sell this for £3,000 in the future. No. You wouldn't even keep this. You wouldn't even keep this. You would buy the sweet. You would eat it, and as you're eating it and you're unrolling it, you'd sort of read the comic and have a laugh at it, and then you'd screw it up and you'd throw it away. And that's not dissimilar to how comics were in those early days. They were really cheap. They were really basic. Yeah, newspaper comics were the same. You read the newspaper, haha, you had a laugh, and then threw the newspaper away. You didn't treasure these things. You didn't cut them out. You didn't, you just... You looked at them, you read them once, and then you forgot about them. And you didn't matter. They didn't matter. And they weren't important. Let's go find, like, some random comic from, like, the 50s or something. Let's see if we can find something goofy. Look at this. Listen to this. This is Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze, And now I'll have the most valuable life trophies in the world. Batman and Robin frozen in blocks of ice. Like, it's so goofy. Like, there's no question as like, oh, how are they surviving in the ice and stuff. That's not scientifically. No. It's just literal. It's just goofy. Featuring the ice crimes of Mr. Zero. I call Mr. Zero at this point, but it's Mr. Freeze. Not very good design, to be honest. It's not a very good design. But again, this is also similar to what I was saying about him. Look at the colours. I'm colourblind. What is this? Pink and I guess yellow. I thought that was green, but yellow. Why are they these colours? Because we got blue already used for Batman here. We've got red for red for this. I think Robin is using green. So he can't have the green because then it'd be too similar. So what colours are left? So okay, no one's using pink, and I guess they're using yellow, but they're not using much yellow, so we can have his main body be yellow, and no one's using pink. So there you go. It's just whatever, easy colours. And they're just wacky stories. They're just totally wacky stories. Like here's another one. We got Batman and Robin, featuring the creature from 20,000 fathoms. It's some dragon, some Godzilla thing, and it's underwater. They're underwater, and look at this. It's so wacky. Let me see if we got another one. Let's go find another one. Yeah, it's CMYK. Here we go. Batman. We're on the Royal Rumble. We got Robot Batman. That robot Batman will take care of Robin for us. Oh yeah, so back in the day, all the villains were racketeers. They were like they were men in often green suits. Is this green or is this orange? I think this is orange. No, yeah, this is orange. But they're often like ugly green suits, and yeah, they were the Italians. It was literally just the Italians, and look at this. It's a robot Batman. You remember that Naruto filler episode, but you got the robot Naruto. This is literally what this is. It's just like wacky stories that are fun for kids. But people who like care about the serious stories of it, they hate that kind of stuff. They well, you can't have a robot Naruto. That's not canon. But that's not the point. Like, who cares about the canon? Who cares about the canon? It's a robot Batman. Like, don't you see how cool that is? It's so much fun. I've got a physical one where it's a rainbow Batman where he has to wear a different colour suit every day. I think is it 60s, 70s? I don't know. I might have it. Let me see if I have it. Let me see if I have the rainbow Batman. He has to wear a different colour bat suit every night. Do I have it? Is it 70s? No, the art's getting too good. It was really bad art. Wait, what the hell is this? This is kind of weird. It's kind of freaky. Hold on. This is oh, he's putting him on a cannon. I see. I didn't notice the cannon at first, but what is this? And then you got. Oh yeah, and then here's all the classic sort of bad guys you get. You got. Here's your classic mafia racketeer. You got sinister looking Asian guy. We got the blue collar thug. I'm guessing this is like another kind of vague-looking Asian guy, or some sort of northern cold guy. We got the British, And I don't know what this guy's supposed to be. Maybe he's another Italian or something. Is that French? Is he a French guy? I don't know. You know, then you have all the classic bad guys. Oh, do I have the one where the Joker becomes the ambassador to, I think, Iran? That's got to be around it somewhere. It's right after the Killing Joke, I think, which happens, I think, in the 90s. Let me see if we can find it. I must surely have it. It's so funny. 90s. Do I have it? The Joker, I think immediately after they finish the Killing Joke, they write a comic in which the Joker becomes the ambassador to like either Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, one of these countries, and he gets diplomatic immunity, and so the Batman can't do anything about him because that would be a serious breach of diplomatic stuff. He would be like attacking another country. Do I have it? Do I have it? Come on now, it's got to be around this somewhere. Yeah, see, sometimes I see a comic, it's so ridiculous that I forget to actually save it because it's so ridiculous. Oh, I'm not seeing it. I'm growing in despair. I would have found it by now if I just Googled it. Okay, one more. Let's try 2000s. No, okay, I'm Googling it. Googling it. Joker becomes ambassador to... It's either Iran or Iraq. So we are. See, so the Joker, he becomes the ambassador to Iran, the great Islamic Republic of Iran. Do we have any more panels? Do we have a confrontation with Batman? Remember when the Joker became the Iranian ambassador for the UN, so Batman couldn't attack him? It's so ridiculous. What year was this? What year was this? I could have sworn this was 1988. When was Killing Joke? Batman Killing Joke. Also 1988. Okay, I did have my timeline right. I think this is right after they finished the Killing Joke. Also, you know what? I'm gonna say something very controversial here. I did not like the Killing Joke. I thought it insists upon itself. Let me explain. So the plot of the Killing Joke goes something like this. The Joker, I think he's either in jail or I think he just escapes from jail, and then he kidnaps Commissioner Gordon and his wife. I think he does vaguely sexual torture to his wife, but nothing really all that dramatic. I could probably even show it on stream. It really isn't that terrible. But this drives Commissioner Gordon completely mad. It mind breaks him. He sees pictures of his wife in her underwear, and this mind breaks him. And then he becomes completely insane. The Joker goes to fight the Joker. They fight for a bit, and then they get tired of fighting after a while. And then the Joker tells the Batman a joke, to which he laughs, and then Batman kills the Joker, I think. I think that's how the story goes. There's also an origin story, I think, of the Joker in it. Something about him laughing. And I really hate the laughing panel because people rip it off and they're really bad at ripping it off. It's... I don't know. I don't like it. But while I'm all the way in like my 2000s like folder of Batman, you know, it shows like what Batman has become. Okay, you know, like do you see the difference between these? You know, let me get rid of that one. Like there's a difference here. There's a big difference. One is just it's a guy dressed as a bat. Okay, it's these cartoony or wacky things, and then the other one is like it's grim and it's serious. And I think Batman does work as grim and serious, but he's still a guy in a bat. He's still a guy in a bat costume fighting, and they have a lot of trouble with Robin. You know, Robin, he's been turned into Nightwing and I think a few other characters like a million times, and Robin, there's like 5 Robins at this point, and they've all got serious issues. They've all got serious issues. This is no, it's a H. I thought it was a satanic symbol there, but probably is though. But all the Robins have serious issues because this is Robin. This is Robin. He's the boy wonder. He's wearing, God, what's he wearing? You know, like he's wearing some leotard and sometimes he's wearing shorts. The teeth? Oh, don't get me started on the teeth. In fact, I've got a collage of the teeth. Let me go find it. Let me go find my collage of the teeth. Do I have it? Do I have it? It might be just mouths. I'm not sure. I've got a collage of something like it. Where is it? I've got a lot of collages. Okay. This isn't it. This isn't it. This is just a mouths collage, but it does also feature. I have this purely for like study purposes. But do I have a one specifically of the kind of mouths I mean? Do I have it? Where would I put it? Maybe I'd have it in a different folder. Here we go. Here we go. I do indeed have it. I call this awkward faces. Awkward faces. And a lot of these, it's the teeth. It's like they show the gums and the teeth, and there's a lot of things going on here. So you know, what the hell is this? Like, you know, there's some examples here that are really bad that I haven't even included here. You know, I don't like the lips. I don't like the bimbo lips they do. I think they look terrible. I don't like this face. You see this face a million times. So imagine yourself as an artist, okay, and you're not really used to cartooning, and you're told you need to draw an angry face. How do you do it? Well, you get a mirror, and you make an angry face in the mirror, and you copy that, and that's exactly what this is. That is exactly what this is. This as well. How do you make this face? You go, you know, a scrunchy face, you know, scrunchy faces. That's what these are. They're weird faces made in the mirror, and they're not expressive. They don't express anything. Gears of Warhead? I don't get the reference. You know, and I don't. Do I have one like manga by comparison? Okay, this'll do. This'll do. Here's one specifically of Ranma. but look at these faces. Look at these faces. These are wacky faces. These are wacky faces. You know, and sometimes they're not so wacky. Sometimes they're not so wacky, you know, but sometimes they're really wacky. And it's cartoon. It's a total cartoon, you know. I bet if I were to look, you'd probably find those old Batman comics probably have wacky faces, you know. But mostly, you'll notice that some of these are really blurry. Now, I've resized these. So this one here is really clear, whereas this one here is really blurry. Because in reality, this one here on the right is much smaller. This is from a really small panel, whereas this one is quite zoomed in. And so this is the whole point. This is the whole point of the big eyes. This is the reason why manga has big eyes. Because it's just almost like a scientific argument, okay? It's almost like a scientific argument. Mobius is great. I hate Mobius as well. Well, actually, I don't hate Mobius, but I think he's overrated. you know, I've tried reading his actual comics, and they don't interest me. You know, I wanna read something with an actual like story, and not something that's just aesthetics. I like his illustrations. I don't think his comics are of much value. But what was I gonna say? Not even the encounter. I don't know the names of them off my head, but I had a look at all the ones I could find, and I didn't really find them too interesting as like comics. You know, they're too artsy fartsy for me. You know, I want something a bit more grounded. But what was I gonna say? But In fact, I've got a collage for this. Actually, I've got another collage for this. Where is it? You know, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. So this is a bit weird. Okay, imagine you're holding a book, and the size of this book is the Tankoban size. It's sort of it's you got the hands for scale. You know. And manga is about this size when it's printed on the Tankoban size. That's the size I'd argue this is the size it's intended to be viewed at. When you buy Weekly Shonen Jump, that is bigger. It's a bit bigger. It's like A4 size. It's like average printer paper size. That's a bit bigger, but I don't think that's the intended final product. I think that this size here is the intended final product. And so it's drawn on this size. Comics are drawn on the bigger size, and I haven't actually got that here. I've got another collage for this actually. One moment. You can tell I put a lot of time into this, more than I should. Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Here we go. Here we go. Now this is a very weird collage. Okay, this is a very weird collage. So the two sizes here, the two sizes here are the A4 size, average printer paper size, and a smaller Tankoban size, and we have a can of Coke here for scale. So. Here, looking at Full Metal Alchemist for I don't know what magazine Full Metal Alchemist was published in actually. But if it were published in Weekly Shonen Jump, it would be this size. Or Saint Seiya probably was. Well, maybe we can use that. But and then it would be later printed at this smaller size. And imagine you're holding it in your hands. Imagine you're holding it in your hands. In fact, do I have this? One moment. It's called Comics on the Floor. Do I have my Comics on the Floor picture? It's around here somewhere. Floor. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Comics on the Floor. There's a calculator and a little notebook and a pair of shoes there. So imagine you dropped your comic on the floor. Imagine you dropped your comic on the floor, and you're looking down at it, and at a glance, can you read this? And so you can see the two different sizes here. We've got the Tankoban and the A4 here. Can you read this? You know, at a glance. And actually, this image here, I'm totally tangential all over the place, but this image here was actually an argument about the shiny page. See, this is supposed to be shiny paper, and it ruins the blacks. The blacks become this horrible yellow colour. It's kind of unreadable, whereas this has matte paper, and it doesn't do that. But ignore that for now. Just the size of the drawings, okay? If you were to talk to someone in real life, how far away can you be from them before you can't properly talk to them? Not in terms of volume, but in terms of like body language, eye-to-eye communication. Like at what point are you're not with them? You're away from them and you're just shouting at them. You know, you're not having good communication. You know, at a certain distance, you can't at a big PP. Oh, I do see it. What the hell? What is that? Oh, it's our other arm. I see. Bloody hell. But I was gonna say, but imagine you're talking to someone. How close do you need to be to them to be close enough that you can look at them and you can interpret, you know, you can kind of interpret what they're thinking. You're having an actual conversation and you're close enough that you're properly interacting. You're not just shouting at them from a distance. You're looking at each other and you're together. It's pretty close. You know, if you're 2 meters away from someone, it's kind of too far. You got to kind of be within touching distance. You got to be sat down with them. And this is to do with our eyesight. You know, we don't have eagle hawk vision. We have to be close enough that we can see minute details about their eyes and the mouth and all. We have to be close enough to see that so we can interpret that, okay? That's like science, right? And so the same applies to if you're looking at a comic book and you're holding it in your hands, you're going to hold it at a certain distance. You're not going to be close, you're not going to be too far away. You're going to kind of hold it at an average distance. Or if you're looking at it on a monitor, you're going to look at it at a certain distance. And if you have to look in, you have to squint your eyes and look in, it's too small. It's too small. In fact, you know, I've kind of got it on here. These aren't this page, but sometimes they do print them at this size in an attempt to be trendy with the Tankoban thing. They'll reprint comics at this size. And try to imagine you're holding this at this scale. It's too small. it's too small. Not only is it too small, but the figures are drawn realistically, so the eyes and the features are even smaller, and they're really you can't really see it. Let me get one more image. Where is it? It's around it somewhere. Have I gone past it? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This here is from a very, you can tell this is from a very small panel. You know, if we had this in here, it'd probably be like there or something. You know, it's a small panel. It's a small panel. But look at it. Look at it. Look at their faces. You can't see anything. You know, I can kind of vaguely see that they've got a relaxed expression. That he's not angry. But there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Like what's the point of this? What's the point of this? You can't see what the hell they're looking at. You can't see their expressions because it's too small, because it's drawn with a realistic style. Now, if we go back to these faces here, and we've got these are blurry faces, but look at these. Even though these are really tiny panels, you know, the blurrier it is, the smaller it is, and I've just made it bigger. But if it's blurry, it means it's a really small drawing. You can read it fine. Look at this. Look at this tiny little panel here of shampoo. I think that is. It's absolutely tiny. You can read her expression effortlessly. You know. Look at this, the minutiae, because look how big they make the eyes. The eyes are half the size of the head. Yeah, I personally see it as an issue. You know, I see it as an issue because it's too difficult. It's too difficult. It's not nearly as easy as when you cartoon it. When you make it cartoony. You know, when you make it cartoony, you can draw really tiny things, and because of the nature of a comic. You know, it's going to have like an average of like 5 to 6 panels per page just to tell the story. You can't have every page like this. You're wasting ink doing this. Yeah, you're gonna have some panels. You have some panels, and because you have to show a certain amount of information, you can't have every single one of them be a super deep close up of the eyes. At some point, you're gonna have to show the environment. You're gonna have to show the pose, and so statistically speaking, you're gonna have You're gonna have. I see how for artists. So I see how for artists it may be a thing to notice, but like the public, they don't really care. I don't think they know that it's bad. I don't think. I think the sales do the telling for you. That no one's buying comics and everyone's buying manga. I don't think they realise the difference. I think they just look at manga and think, yeah, I like this, and they look at comics and think, I don't like this. I think this is a part of the reason because it's unreadable. What is it? I think Junji Ito is a good example. Despite pages being quite busy, they're still not too hard to read visually. I haven't actually read any Junji Ito. I've seen like lots of like page stuff, but I haven't given it a go yet. It's horror. I'm not a horror guy, but I should go get some reference of it because obviously they're a good artist. But you know, there's the argument I'm making is that the drawings are too small for you to be able to rely to consistently read their emotions. There's also the added problem that when you draw realistically, it's very difficult to convey emotion because your mouth can only open so far, your eyes can only open so much. When you're making a movie, that's actually photorealistic. It's actually a camera, and so our sort of instincts work there. That we see, you know, a tiny twitch of the eyebrow and you know stuff like that, and that conveys emotion. It's very difficult to put that pen on paper and draw that. You have to be like a master genius artist to be able to convey subtle emotions in a realistic style, and it's even harder to do that in a comic where you have to draw very quickly and you can't draw super realistically, but you want to still draw with realistic proportions, and then to expect thousands of other artists to do this and they're not paid very well and it's not a respectable field. This is a recipe for disaster. You're just not going to get it. You can, however, get a bunch of people to draw like Osamu Tezuka and draw like Mickey Mouse and stuff, and they can communicate really effectively. That's really easy, and you can draw it really fast, and it's more expressive. And expression is so important because it's a story. You have characters. You have to show what their personalities are, especially these a lot of times in these tiny little panels. You've got to see what's going on in their mind. And if you can't do that, it's very difficult. You know, and there's just sort of a lot of comic panels. There's I'm not seeing any emotion. You know, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? But I had a more interesting argument here. I think it was before this part. Yeah, oh yeah, I guess I'll sort of talk a little bit about the size thing. You know, it's kind of related, but the size. So if you're making a comic yourself, if you look at here is an old Western comic, and here is a modern Western comic, and this isn't even a cherry picked example. This is literally a random example. I try not to cherry pick, but look how big the drawings are. Have you read Ethernaut by Osterheld? Let me Google it. I haven't read it, but I'll Google it. Ethernaut by Osterheld. 1950s. Can I find an internal page? Oh, I see. I think I've seen pictures of this. I'm seeing very realistic drawings. Is this Osterheld? This might be a different comic. Actually, it might. I think it is. This, it looks good. It looks good, but it's a bit like how can you replicate this? How can you replicate this? This is part of the problem. You know, you're running a let me go find some wacky like Batman thing again. You know, you've got people making these wacky stories, and then they're not being paid very well, and they've got to put these out really quickly, and it's all it's cheap stuff for children. Why is it so realistic? You're making your life harder. Like, you can't expect every artist to be this genius master draftsman. It's a bad standard. It's a bad standard. Alex Ross is often brought up as he's like the best artist. But no one, how many people can be Alex Ross? You know what I mean? It's too difficult. It's too much to demand. I think you're far better off demanding that having a much easier sort of standard. You know, like here's like everyone can draw this. How many people can draw anime faces? It's not that difficult, but it's appealing. It's okay. Here's a good way of framing it. Whenever I recommend like artists getting into art, like how do they start? And a lot of people say, oh, you've got to go and learn to draw realistically. You've got to do your Loomis heads and you have your anatomy and stuff. You know, it's good to learn, but that's really difficult. It's really difficult to what's it called? Oh, of course. I mean, you can draw whatever you like. You don't have to have like standardization, but like culturally, I think you should have like some kind of standardization. You don't enforce it. Let everyone do what they want, but it's like what's normal? What's normal? Establish what's normal, and what's normal should be something that people can actually do, and not Alex Ross. But anyway, when I recommend people like getting to art, a lot of it is to do with dopamine, or staying motivated, because it's really not forgiving in the beginning. For the first few years, you're just going to draw total rubbish. You will not be able to draw a good-looking, realistic face for years. It's tough. Art is like that. Instead, what you can do is tell someone to go draw like Pokemon, or like chibi anime, or like My Little Pony or something. Draw something like that, because you can still learn a lot by doing that. You can still, like if you're drawing like some Pikachu or something, you still learn how to make good, appealing shapes. You still learn to make nice, clean lines, and you maybe not with Pikachu, but you learn how to make expressive expressions. And depending on what kind of art style you go down, you might learn some lighting and 3D forms and stuff like that. So you find here, it's like let's I found the exact one I was thinking of, but like here's like a Charizard by I forget the name, Gunzaman or something, and it's a really like. It's like a more realistic rendering of Charizard. Like there's anatomy and like 3D forms and stuff. But do I have like actual regular Charizard? Let me go find the actual regular Charizard. No, no, I'm making a good argument. I'm making a good argument here. Like, I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean. You know, this is regular Charizard. This is regular Charizard, and Charizard doesn't have anatomy. You know, I mean, there's a 3D form here, but he's a cartoon. He's a cartoon, and you can learn, and you can draw. A beginner artist can draw this. They can draw. Okay, it's like this blobby shape. It's like a cylinder. You know, whatever. It's a simple cartoon. You know, and you can, and so a beginner artist in not much time at all can draw. It's like you know, no shocker. You can go tell this to Ramnor. Go tell Ramnor to draw some simple dragons like this. He'll feel good about himself, you know. And then with this, you can learn 3D forms. You can learn how to draw this like leg and this body. It's clearly got some 3D forms, but they're really simple 3D forms. And you can do this, and it looks good. And then, if you want, you can sort of go and you can start drawing like, oh, I can learn a bit of anatomy and I can apply that to my Charizard or whatever. And there's a bunch of stuff going on. You've got like the shininess, so you have to learn how to draw shiny stuff. You can start drawing backgrounds and fire here, and you can draw a real good looking drawing without having to go and learn your Loomis heads. So the dopamine stays high. You stay motivated because you're continuously making good looking stuff. And then once you do this enough, then it's much easier to go from this to actually, you know, like actually like, you know, humans with actual anatomy and stuff. It's much easier to go from that. It's a stepping stone. And so I always like recommend that, and you know, I guess going back to like anime and stuff, it's like it's easy for people to make anime style art, and so a lot of people can become manga artists. Like what's that one like oh yeah, there's a weird picture on Google, but you know, Fujimoto, he's not all that good of an artist. You know, I mean, he's, you know, in a lot of ways he's better than me, but like, he's not like like he's not Alex Ross. You know what I mean? Like he can't draw like this perfectly realistic thing, but what he can do is he can draw this. You know, and you know it's appealing. It's appealing, and you know and I don't know what of this he drew. You know, the assistants probably drew the background here, but you know, look at this figure. This looks good. This looks very good. It's just that I love Neil Adams type art, like the Savage Sword of Conan. I'm on the fence with that kind of art. Like I like it for its like there's a simplicity to it. There's like it's kind of old fashioned, but I find it's not approachable. It's and it certainly doesn't appeal to modern art audiences. That's a big problem. You know, but it's sort of you know, it's this kind of manga style art. It's easier to draw. It's more expressive. It's quicker to draw. It generally appeals to a lot of people. I don't know why comics insist on this realistic approach. They're kind of breaking away from it lately, but because the young artists drawing now, they like a lot of anime and stuff. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of you know, it's difficult. It's difficult. I my brain's fried now. I've got a weird. I've got a lot of weird collages. Let me see if I've got a weird collage. Let me see if any weird collages I've got. See if we can guess what they're supposed to be. Okay, here we go. This one here. This is incomprehensible. This is surely incomprehensible. Yeah. Let me just sort of cover the other stuff. You know, this is surely incomprehensible. You know, what's going on here? Actually, it's not. It's okay. It's a bit more obvious than it looks, maybe. You know, this is the original up here. This is what were you talking about before? I don't even know. I don't bother keeping track of where my arguments begin. I just go aimlessly. I think what this was that I wanted to see, you know, what the sort of process of adapting this to anime would be, because I've got this sort of theory that all panels in a manga can be reformatted to like a TV aspect ratio, or perhaps more precisely, when we see things in real life, we very easily turn our heads left and right, but we don't as easily look up and down. And so naturally our vision is not a perfect circle, but it's more like an oblong shape, where it's more horizontal. It's closer to sort of like a TV screen. It's a rectangle, or where it'd be like an oblong shape, but it's rectangle's good enough. That's how we see. That's how we imagine. And so when we imagine any kind of scene, we imagine it kind of like a movie. We don't imagine it on a vertical panel. We imagine it on a horizontal panel. And yet most panels in comics are vertical. Now, what's the reason for this? Well, obviously the reason is because the page itself is vertical. It's not horizontal. And the reason for this is because books are vertical, not horizontal, and the reason why there is because that's how text fits on a page easier. It has nothing to do with comics. Comics are just adapting to a difficult problem and an unsuitable environment. But if we want to depict a scene, we imagine it first as horizontal in landscape aspect ratio. And so why are there so many vertical panels? It's to fit in. And so what fits in? What fits in? And what fits in is everything that's necessary, and nothing unnecessary is left out. And with all of these, you can fit all of these in here. So this one here, this is a vertical panel, and what's on the side is not important. Here we go again. What's on the side? Not important. What's on the side here that was cut off? Nothing important. All the important bits fit in, and you could just extend this out with filler background, and it would work. And this is part of the reason why manga adapts to anime so well. In fact, I've got the anime right here. One moment. In fact, I've got the anime right here. The panels, and I've done like the opposite here. I've put the panels in the manga thing, and there's some difference. They've cut off some of the vertical parts here instead. Kind of a similar solution, and there's some differences. Some of these don't fit, but but it largely works. So I've got this theory that actually all mangas can be, or all comics, I guess, if they've drawn in this kind of cinematic style, can be reformatted into a into horizontal boxes. I've got a good one of this. One moment, let me find it. Here we go. Here it is. Have a look at this. Here we go with this another Ranma page, and they've got all different size boxes, and many of them vertical. But I think that you can reformat this, and this goes left to right here, I think, and then this here would be a pan shot where it goes up and down, and I think that is often the explanation for a lot of very vertical panels, that it implies an up and down pan. Bringing the Ethernaut comic again, Argentinian comics are rectangles. They very wacky looking. I have some rectangles. Do you mean the page is horizontal, or do you mean that all the panels are rectangles? Oh, also that also does remind me, and I really should mention, I don't like the Watchmen panels. Let me go find it. I'll show you what I mean. Watchmen. I dislike this. I dislike this window pane, the Watchmen grid layout. Because to me, it acts like the magazines are horizontal rectangles. You mean like a 4-coma? Like the 4-panel Japanese comedy comics? Because those are also horizontal rectangles. But here, I really say, because what this, to me, the experience of this is that it acts like a sort of it acts like a sort of metronome. Every single panel is the exact same shape, and they're ordered. They're arranged in a very orderly pattern, and so you feel like the way you read it, you go boom, 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 boom. You go one to the next without changing the timing. You don't look at one for a quick and then another one for. You look at them all for the same period, and it's not a good reading experience. Now, to be fair, they don't do this in every panel. They don't do this in every page. Watchmen does have variation. This panel here, and you can see immediately the experience changes. You read these panels quickly. This panel you read for longer, and this panel you read for longer still. By making the panels bigger, you make the pacing longer, and that's a very powerful way to control pacing in a comic. And so it's like it's a tool you have. It's a tool you have that controls pacing, and if you refuse that tool, it's very hard. I think the page is horizontal. Yeah, that's what I was getting. I think the page is probably horizontal. I think I did see that when I googled it. Actually, now I remember it. I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any 4 comas saved. Actually, I don't. But I know what a 4 coma looks like. But a 4 coma is almost exclusively a comedy comic, and it has a comedic timing that is sort of a. They're very formulaic. There's the 4 coma comedic timing, so it kind of makes sense that they have the very consistent paneling. They don't need to change the paneling because it's set up. It's set up for that kind of timing, and it wouldn't be the same if it didn't have that kind of timing. You know, in fact, I think you see a lot of there's some artists who you see who I think have a sort of tendency to make that a comedy, and their sort of panels, they have almost like a comedic timing to them. Let me see if I can find an example of what I mean. It's harder than I thought. This is a flimsy theory. It's from an interview I watched. The 3x3 is a callback to pulp comics and stuff. I think it's common in a lot of old comics because it's simple. You see, in the past, it was very common for actually, I think the origin of comics comes from newspaper strips, which are always in this like fixed box. You don't get to pick the paneling. But even from the early days, it was very common for the text to be written first, and then the pictures were added afterwards according to the text. And so the person writing it, he doesn't know anything about drawing. So as far as he's concerned, it's just a box. And so there wasn't really any concept of paneling. Manga paneling is like a science. It does a lot of things. Oh. Yeah, it was like when one writes a poem in a form that no one uses anymore. I guess that's a good way. That's one way of wording it. All right, I'm giving up here. I'm giving up here. My brain's fried. My back's starting to hurt a little bit, so I'm gonna give up. But we somehow managed to get. So we ranted for like almost as long as we played the video game. So. But it was a bit of fun. You see. You know, I hope I'm sort of communicating myself well here. I don't hate comics. I see comics as this incredibly powerful medium that that just by drawing pen on paper, that just a pen and paper, anyone can do this. Literally anyone can do this. But what you can do with that medium is you can create almost a cinematic experience. And frankly, a lot of this we have to thank Japan for this, because they've I don't know if you can say uncovered or invented techniques that can convey the illusion of sound, of movement, of all these things. They've really refined the art, so now it can do a lot of stuff. Only so long as you actually use those techniques. If you don't use those techniques, then it's just a picture book, and it's worthless. And in Japan, they're using it to great effect. You can read. We're at the point now where some mangas that even though they're adapted to anime, you don't need the anime. The manga is just as intense of an experience where you can really feel the movement. You almost hear the music and everything. It's got so much life in it. It's such a cinematic experience because of the artistic techniques that they use, and it's just pen on paper. In fact, they're not even at their full potential, in my opinion, because they don't even use color. They're just black and white, and that's a strong restriction. But then you look over to what we're doing over here in the West, in America, in Europe, and we're not making anything like this. the comics that we make they're compared to what they're making in Japan, they're rubbish. Absolute rubbish. There's no movement, there's no emotion, there's nothing. You know, they're curiosities. That's the best you can say. They're just, oh, that's kind of curious. You know, it's kind of interesting, but it's not. It doesn't touch your heart in the same way that people love manga. There's no. I was about to say, you know, there's no comic convention. Of course, there's Comic Con, but no one cares about the comics in Comic Con anymore because that's just how irrelevant they are. You know, and it's so bad that people in the West, they don't even think of comics as like a medium that can do anything other than just cheap crap. You know, I was talking about the sweets on it. You know, like the sweets where you unravel it and it's got the comic book on the packaging. That's basically what comics. That's what comics are being used for. This powerful medium is being used for rubbish. It's like, imagine if the medium of film, the medium of cinema. Imagine if, instead of making all the masterpieces that we know of, all the famous movies, you know, the Kubricks and the George Lucases and whoever the guy who makes Indiana Jones is, you know, think of these masterpieces of film. Imagine if none of that existed, none of that was made, and instead the only thing that film was used for was, like, advertisements for crappy tins of beans or something. And it was just a person who would just, you know, and it wasn't even like a cinematic advertisement. It was like old 50s advertisement. They're like, oh yes, Jacob's beans are the greatest beans around. Buy now, $2.99 at retail stores now. And that was the entire application of film. How rubbish that would be! I would be looking at it. I'd say, you can do so much more. You can make these experiences that touch the hearts of people. You know, there's so much potential here. This mixture of movement and colour and sound and you know, everything. I think it's more of a sociological thing. Japan is hot right now, and in some years it's going to be another thing. It's part of it. The weeb thing is part of it, I will admit, but I think it's like 1% of it. I think the reason people are weebs is because it's actually good. Because the comics that they're making, the manga, they're actually good. You know, that people love these things. You know, people. You know, you'll find people. You know, how many times have you seen some guy whose internet username is, you know, Sasuke93, you know, Ukiora21. You know, it's. I think manga is better at depicting emotions, mostly because the culture over there has way more interest in the well-being feelings of people compared to the West. Both people in the West and people in Japan are both extremely emotional people. In fact, Japan is like they're very you know, they're very strict with their emotions. They generally don't show their emotions. You know, we're here in the West, we're much more emotive and expressive. And I would argue that our movies, you know, things like Hollywood and stuff, they're a lot better than what Japan is. Japan is like one or two famous movie directors, but it's like, and their TV is rubbish. Okay, you see their TV, it's weird. Okay, our TV is much better. There's no Breaking Bad in Japan TV. Okay, like we're way better at that. But when it comes to comics, it's a wasteland in the West. We're nothing. You know, I see a lot of people. Oh, sorry. Back hurts. You know, I find myself asking that no, like Japan is extremely worried about making people feel happy and relaxed. It's part of that. I think there's a lot more complex than that. If you think of people like Go Nagai, and you know he's kind of old. He's from like the 70s. Like he's the guy who made Devilman, Cutie Honey, Mazinger Z, I think, or maybe that's a different guy who made Mazinger Z. But like that sort of era, he made a lot of stuff that was really kind of weird. There's one he makes like a superhero comic of a girl who's totally naked except she wears a mask, and people, they don't know her identity, but they do know her body. And all of her attack names are weird sexual stuff, like she spins around and shoots pubic hair at her enemies. It's like, it's very weird, and he caused a lot of controversy over that. Now, you can't say that Go Nagai is interested in making people happy. He's quite a controversial figure. You know, but I think that I've watched a lot of Naoki Urasawa's Man Ben. He makes a TV show where he like a documentary series where he'll go and record some manga artists for a week and then just sort of talk to them about their philosophy for manga. It's a really good series. You should go watch it. You can find it free on Web Archive. And everyone's got a different philosophy, but they are all kind of similar. They have a deep appreciation of the art, and they want to share that with the world. They want to show the world their appreciation of whatever it is. You know, take something like Ruri Rocks, for example. Clearly, the author who made this, you know, I haven't seen an interview with this guy, but if you were to interview him, almost certainly they would say that they want to share their passion for mineralogy with the world. And that's a really wholesome thing. That's a really wholesome thing. And you don't get that in the West. You don't get that in the West. The guy who made, you know, who makes whatever superhero comic, does he has no idea what he's doing when making Devilman. I'll be honest, I read Devilman and I was like, this story is nonsense. It's like there's some vaguely anti-war stuff and it's kind of weird. I don't actually think the story is very good, but you know, it's obviously, it has immense cultural impacts. Devilman did. It got made into a TV show that was like totally different from the manga, but it's like a huge thing. Like you can go to Japan and it's pretty common to see something Devilman related, like on any kind of poster that's celebrating Japan. It's like a culture. It's like as big as like Godzilla there. I find it's like his best stuff, but also just absolutely mental. He does a lot of stuff. Gona guy made he's prolific, you know. And this is a rant for like another time, but there's like a chain of like influential people who are they're like Mount Rushmores of manga. Of course, you've got Osamu Tezuka. He's like the founder, you know. And then people like copy him, and then there's like I forget. There's the person who makes I forget his name. Sazu-san, I think. Sazai-san. And then there's it's like before it's the thing that inspired Saint Seiya. I forget what it is, but there's these like influential people that very early on who laid the groundwork, and people just been following it ever since. And I think that comics really lack that. I think the groundwork that they got laid really didn't give the same potential. It didn't give the same potential. Like the Stanley and stuff. They made superheroes, but they didn't let anyone go beyond superheroes. And so the comics that they were making, they did make things other than superheroes in the beginning. You know, Batman, for example, he comes in like chapter 27 of Detective Comics. Before that, there was like completely other stuff that wasn't superheroes at all. But they just dropped. They just completely get dropped, and they only make superheroes. And it was really popular for a time, but then it like very early on, it really stifles them. I have this anthology of his earliest manga from the 40s and 50s. It was a different time. That Treasure Island comic. The Osamu Tezuka stuff. Yeah. Like, see, this is the thing. Osamu Tezuka didn't just make one type of comic. You know, he makes Astro Boy, and it's this hugely popular thing, and everyone's going around copying Astro Boy. And then there was the Kimber the Lion thing, and then the people copying that. But then I don't know how it starts. I think maybe it might have been started outside of comics, but and then you get this whole people starting wanting to make different mangas. And then what does Osamu Tezuka do? He follows it. He follows the trend, and he also makes different mangas. And this like it sets the groundwork. It sets the groundwork that manga could be anything. And that's you know, the people still liking manga today. They did the total opposite in comics. They said comics can be nothing but superheroes, and normal by anything else. Normal dare do anything else. MW. I'm not sure what MW is. I have MW. Tezuka MW. Oh, it's called MW. I've never even heard of this one. Pronounced Moo. Oh, I see. Do we have images of it? Oh yeah, okay. What year was this? What year was this? Oh yeah, so this was like, yeah, this is like another, yeah, this looks like a good example of like he's accepting like the changes in the manga industry, that the art form can do a lot more than just cartoony stuff. It can be a serious storytelling medium, and they just never did that in comics. Anyway, I've been ranting in circles for like the past 10 minutes, so I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up. I had a bit of fun. Had a bit of fun. First two pages, one of the main characters kills the children on fire. This is a nun. This is a Catholic priest. That's pretty whack. Yeah, that's pretty whack. But thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna run away now. I'm gonna run away now and go cook myself some dinner, and then that'll be fun. That'll be fun. We played a bit of Factorio. Raid. Oh, there's like 2 people watching. Nah, not enough. Not enough. No points for you. No points for you. But thanks for watching.